The way O'Reilly packaged these, they've got 2 long shoes and 2 short shoes, and that's normal. But they got the short shoes packaged together and the long shoes packaged together. Short shoes go in the front. So this is not a left side and a right side. This is a front side and a back side. Back shoes go in the back over here, and the front shoes go in on the front side. I could reuse all of this old hardware kit, but because I bought it, I'm going to go on ahead and use it, because everything I took off, I was not able to free up the screw on the self-adjusters while they were installed, but once I got them off, I was able to free them up, which means I can lube them and reuse them, but I'm not going to do that. That's one of the problems, is those adjusting screws getting seized up, and the other problem is these cables rotting out and breaking. But I'm going to go ahead and replace all that, get this stuff out, and start putting it together. Also, after I changed the wheel cylinder, I did spray. I wiped a bunch of this down with a rag, and then I sprayed it with brake cleaner to get the brake fluid off on both inside and outside, because that brake fluid will eat the paint up, and if you leave it on there too long, and then you got rust. We got to transfer. We're going to get it out of the new kit though, but all of this stuff I'm leaving it on the rear shoe. That's the long shoe, the one with the long padding on it. The front shoe has short padding on it. If you look at them, the front shoe's got shorter padding on it. So, and just line them up evenly where they're the same, not like this, like that. And find your new parts in your new hardware kit, or if you're using the old parts, carefully take a picture of it and then put all this stuff on. The reason I go into a lot of detail is for people that have never done this before, or people that are like me, a little bit slow at learning, and they got to go through it a couple times before they get it. Now, I don't know if this happened at O'Reilly's or in China. It is made in China, it says right there, but I'm assuming the L stands for left, the R stands for right, and this R over here stands for right. I guess on another car, somehow or another, we got 2 bags for the right side and 1 bag for the left. Don't know how that happened, but I know how O'Reilly's is, and I know they couldn't care less. So the 3rd bag is just going to lay around here, and who knows, maybe it'll get used on somebody's car someday. Okay, I'm not going to tripod the camera for this. I'm just going to lay this on there. This kit comes with a new pin that goes there if your brake shoes don't come with one. This brake shoe does. Lay this in there the same direction that this one is, and then I'm going to hook this thing on there. First I'm going to hook it underneath this. I need 2 hands to do that. Put it on the same way that one is. Now you might want to mount your brake shoes first before you put these pieces on, because you don't want them falling off of there and springs flying away from you. It was just easier for me to show you on this table here. This thing here is going to hook underneath that. It's going to go in that hole up there. And then this has to be stretched way up high in order for this to reach over and hook on the pin up here where your springs go. It goes on before your springs go on. Obviously these pins go in behind here. You hold that with your finger, and then with your thumb you hold your brake shoe on in place, and then with your tool that you remove those with, you put them on with this too. Put that on there, and you look and you see the direction of the hole in the middle there. Line that up with the pin. Push that on. I forgot to mention, you got to put this emergency brake lever on there first. That goes in there. I need a third hand. And then your spring washer, and if it doesn't come with horseshoe clips, then you straighten out the old ones and put those back on. This kit did not come with them. A lot of times just brake shoes alone come with new ones. I don't know what's up with O'Reilly's today. It's very important that you get this clip on there inside that groove and squeeze it tight. And you might need 2 pair of pliers to do it, because you got to squeeze that spring washer down. You can squeeze that down on one side here with 1 pair of pliers, and on top of your horseshoe clip, take a second pair of pliers and squeeze this thing on there tight underneath that groove, because that spring washer's going to keep your horseshoe clip from being able to reach the groove if you don't squeeze it down tight with 1 pair of pliers or a vice grip or something. I've got that shoe kind of hanging up there in position. Got my pin in the hole there, and now I'm going to try to do this without getting in the way of the camera. I see I got my lines going, my slit on the pin going up and down. It doesn't have to be that direction, it's just the way it is. So I'm going to line this up that way, hold the finger behind it, my thumb on the brake shoe, and I'm going to try to maneuver this into position here. You got holes on the side of this tool where you can see in there, and you probably cannot see what I'm doing because I'm probably in the way. I got it on there, sorry, had to get in the way of the camera. Put your rods in there in their appropriate position. And this thing here with the little spring part in the front. Slide that in position in there. And then slide this thing over till this comes over to here. This part comes over and sits on this. And you pull this one out, put this rod in. Lined up in position. Pretty sad hardware kit, didn't come with any springs like it's supposed to. So this long spring, the long side of the straight end hooks in here. Then this side's going to hook in up here. You can do that with the pliers if you want to. Oh, we knocked this one off of there by accident. Stick that back in there. We're going to put this thing up here in front of those. When I put this back on, then we're going to hook this over here with the flat side of it against this. I'm going to line this up with the old one, make sure this is even the right one, because I think it's too short. Look at there. Well, here we are putting the old springs back on because they didn't give me new ones in the kit. And then use the hook end of this tool to put the springs on, like that. Now let's see if I can get this one in without being in the way of the camera. Line up the lever here for the parking brake. Push this thing down here in the general neighborhood. Hook this spring in the hole there. Where's my tool? Now the last thing to put this thing together, it's supposed to have a washer on here. Goes between these two. See if I can't find it, then I'll find the old one. Well, I found the washer that goes on from the old one. But before I even go that far, I'm going to make sure that this turns the right direction. This is going to be a right-hand thread. Let's make sure this one has a right-hand thread. Yes, it does. Okay. Put that on there. Put this washer if it'll fit. Yeah, it does. Put that in there. Their rust inhibitor zinc coating, whatever that is, plating, may not be all that good. This does have grease in it, so I'm tempted to put some grease on this. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit on it. Now I'm going to try to put this in with the end that screws out. Put that towards the front so that this star wheel always stays in the same position on this ratcheting lever. Anyway, I'm going to screw this in tight, or all the way down, and then try to put this into position here. Stretch this out if I can. Put that in there like that. Sorry I had so much trouble with this. I don't do these very often. They're all disc brakes now, and I'm not a full-time mechanic, I'm a truck driver. So anyway, I believe we are ready to put this together. We're going to slide the drum on and off and then adjust this thing little by little. And get these shoes to be centered, and then as the drum fits, in and out, rounded. Then when we are ready to put the wheel on it, we can do the final adjustment from the inside, from this hole in the back here. I took a paper towel and some brake cleaner and wiped this thing out a little bit on the inside, make sure there's no anti-rust sticky stuff in there inside the bore of that drum. And I'm going to paint this part of the drum. A little harder to paint it on here. I might put some here. I'm going to do it with this anti-seize, just a little bit, not a whole lot, because I had a whole lot of trouble getting those old drums off of here. They were seized up on here really bad. Pretty loose. I'm going to go ahead and back this out a little bit more. Teeth on that star wheel feel a little bit sharp on my fingertips. That's why I'm using the rag. Now we're getting close. That's probably close enough. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of anti-seize on this so it doesn't seize up like it did before. Hopefully it won't. And then this side will be done.